we are going to talk today about some special situations, two special situations that we haven't seen at all. You've been graphing lots of lines, but have you noticed they've all been like on angles? Did you ever go, I wonder how come we're never graphing any that are straight across or up and down?
Because they're too easy.
Because I haven't given them to you. And we're going to take a look at them today. All right, so here's how I want us to start. I have this statement. I want you to plot as many points as possible that have the x value equal to 4. Can anyone think of a point that has an x value equal to 4? Anywhere on this grid? Any point that has an x value equal to 4. Right? You can put one up. Just one. Okay, so do you all agree that point has an x value equal to 4?
Yeah.
Can you think of another point that has an x value equal to 4? Carolyn? Put one up. Any point that's got x equal to 4. Okay, do you guys all agree that's got x equal to 4? Y is -2, but x is 4 there, right? Can you think of another point that's got x equal to 4? Polanyi? Okay, in that case, x is 4 while y is 1, so x is 4. Peyton, can you think of another one? Some put it up there. Are you putting these on your note sheet?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How many of these such points could I find? How many of these points could I find? Julian? An infinite number. Now, it so happened that all the students who came up here, they kind of put them all on these nice integer spots, but that one right there also has an x value of 4, right? It's 4, I don't know, 3 point something. Or I could have put it here, right? That one's has a -y, but its x is 4. All of these points, if I filled them all in, would create what? What would it create if I kept marking points on here, Sophia? What's that? Oh, a line, yeah, it would form a line. So go ahead with your ruler and make the line that it would form. Make sure you make it a good line by putting arrows on both ends and labeling it with the equation, which is just x equals 4. Is anyone like thinking those points don't have x values of 4? Do you all agree that all of those points have x values of 4? Good. All right. So what kind of line is it? What vocabulary word would we use to describe this line, Ben?
A vertical line?
Yeah, it's a vertical line. Okay. Any equation that looks like x equal to any constant, any plain old number by itself, x equals c, is a, what kind of line, Ellie?
Vertical.
Vertical line. Because I just happen to choose x equals 4, but we could go through the same exercise with x equals -5, and we would find all of these points on over here. Or x equals -1, it would be all of the points along here. Now I'm going to just tell you that this is strange for kids, and kids have a hard time remembering this. Because there's a typical point of confusion kids have. So we graphed all the points where x equals 4. It turns out to be a vertical line, and kids are confused by that all the time. Why is that confusing? Why do you think it's confusing that we get a vertical line for the equation x equals 4? Ellie? Yeah, because the x-axis is horizontal. You're so used to like x-y's going left and right that you just automatically think it should be a horizontal line. but that's just not the case, right? I gotta go right to all of the places on the graph where x equals 4, and it's a vertical line. So I'm telling you this, full disclosure, you know that it's gonna be a little weird, and you're gonna have to wrap your brain around it, okay? One of the ways I suggest you do it is this. Think this. Where are all of the points with x values of c, whatever particular number it is? And go through the exercise we just did. Find one. And then go, where are other ones? And find other ones, and before you know it, you'll say, oh yeah, it's a vertical line. Okay. It's not a complicated thing, it's just one of those things that can be confusing. Questions? Right. Let's look at another situation. This time I want you to plot as many points as possible that have y equal to -2. Y equal to -2. Somebody come find one of them for me to get us started. Y equals -2 for Tosca. Any single point where the y value is -2. Great. Brian got us 1 point, but I need more. Where else is y equal to -2? Lauren? Sure enough, x is 9 out there, but y is -2. Jack, can you find another one? Put one in between, but that's okay, right? Y is -2. What's going to happen if we found all of the points with y equals -2? What would end up happening, right?
It would become a horizontal line.
We'd fill in that whole line and it would be a horizontal line. So go ahead and take your ruler and draw it in. Make it a good line, arrows on both sides. Label it with the equation. All right. What kind of line is it? What do we say this is a line? What kind of line is it, Shri? Good, a horizontal line. Any equation that looks like y is equal to some number c, any constant, is a, what kind of line, Nathan?
Horizontal.
Horizontal. Again, it's a little bit disorienting. My recommendation is to think like this. Where are all of the points with y values of c, whatever the constant happens to be? Find a couple, and then it should dawn on you, oh yeah, that's that weird vertical or horizontal line. All right, questions? Let's practice a little bit. So your homework, let's not go through homework yet. Let's just practice these. All right, so my first example I want to give us is, let's do the equation y equals -7. I'll write that down. And I also want you to write down what I want you to think. Okay, so you're going to look at that, and it looks different than what we've been dealing with. And you should go, oh, that's weird. Oh yeah, Thursday was the day that was weird in math class. And on Weird Thursday, we thought, where are all of the points with y values of -7? All right, let me just find one. Anything, can you come find one for us? Y equal to -7. another one? And that's probably enough by now, right? You don't have to go crazy. You could if you wanted to. What kind of line is it, Jack? Horizontal line. Draw it in. Make a good line with arrows on both sides. And label it with the equation y equals -7. All right. How about x equals 1? What do you need to think? What is your thoughts that you should be thinking? I want us all to write that down here. I'll give you the first word. Where? You can finish it. That's the thought question I want you to ask. Kataska?
Where are all the points with x values of 1?
Very good. Where are all of the points with x values of 1. Now look at your neighbor's paper for me. Make sure they wrote that. If they didn't, nudge them. Ooh, guilty. Write it down. And then talk with your partner and get that one graphed.
Just double.
Yes, Jack?
Are there like tests and quizzes on this?
Uh-huh.
Are we gonna have to write where are all of the points with like x values of c, like right next to the problem?
I don't know. I might ask you that once on a question. All right. So your line should look like this. X equals 1 is a vertical line. And we don't have any questions here, so we're going to move on. The next thing we were going to talk about are the slopes of these lines. It's a couple special situations, but we were running short in the other classes, so we'll come back to this discussion about slope of these lines. And what I want to do is just take some time to practice now with your partner and the rest of the class. Graphing these when they're mixed in amidst the kind of problems and equations we've been graphing over the last several days. Because what happens is we get so many different concepts that you start to confuse them. It's all fine with like separate, but putting it all together. So, your homework tonight, you're going to get a bunch of equations to graph. Some of them are the kind that we've been doing, where you can see the slope and y-intercept. And some of them are the weird ones, which are horizontal or vertical. All right?
These are weird.
So first one I want you to graph is -3x minus 2. All right? If you can figure out the slope and y-intercept of it, I want you to list the slope and the y-intercept. And in this case, you can. So you and your partner list it, check with each other, and if you agree on the slope and y-intercept, then go ahead and graph the line.
And there are the final 2 examples. Your homework is just like this. They're mixed in together. Make sure you refer to your notes when you get confused about the new weird vertical and horizontal line equations.